Hi, Radiah. I'm so
Hi,
happy.
Leslie.
I'm so happy to have you here. Everybody, just to let you know, Radiah and I are in the same mastermind, and I'm super excited to give her a little mini reading on her brand. And Radiah, why don't you introduce yourself and tell me about your business a little bit?
Sure. So I am Radiah Rhodes. I'm a managing partner, one of three for Evoke Life by Design. And we really are about transformation and shift and teaching people, teaching women, particularly Black women, how to proactively transform and shift their life to have any result they want.
Cool. And so do you guys have kind of like a framework or a system that you use that you've created?
Absolutely. So we call it beprinting, and there's 9 shifts from that always start with telling your truth, and that take you all the way through to what we call taking oh shit actions, which is different than BS actions, but really moving you through some personal mindset shifts that allow you to get out into the world and make those moves that you might be hesitant or not have enough confidence to make from the beginning. We also, our work is really based on intention. And we define intention differently. We say you don't have an intention like it's a thought or an objective, but you are an intention. And it really is a measure of your energy and how you're showing up at any moment to create any kind of outcome. And so we work people through that framework, and we work them through our intention scale to have them show up as the highest version of themselves.
Wow. So that's incredible. That sounds like a little bit of spirituality, a little bit of
Hmm.
science and psychology, and just like the whole shebang.
Yep.
Um, you said earlier that you had there's 3 partners altogether.
Yes.
Is there a particular kind of face of the brand, or is it kind of a collective?
It's definitely a collective in terms of what we create, and even how we deliver it. We each bring a specific piece. So it's funny. I mean, you talk about spirituality and science. So we say we combine like spirit plus science plus reality equals results. And each of us has a component. So my partner Tawana Bagwat is really is mine. She's very scientific and psychology focused, and all of us actually have STEM degrees. So all of us have this component of science, background and logic and math. We also all have spiritual practice certifications. So we bring the spirit of it as well. But Dr. Ronnie, my other partner, is very much the spiritual base. And then I am more like, you would say, the body or the reality of really helping transform and manifest things in real life. So taking those ideas in the mind and that purpose and calling in the spirit, and then making it real. And so we bring that together. From a face standpoint, you probably see me more. I wrote a
Mhm.
book earlier this year, Being is the New Doing, and launched that. And, just have really moved from a publicity standpoint, the brand forward, anchored on that.
Got it. So I'm curious, maybe, so usually when there's like a collective, right, I would run
Hmm.
the chart of actually the business. Like if
Mm,
there was like a time when whenever you guys would consider like the first breath of the business, whether it was like an LLC signing or a shaking hands between the 3 of you, or like a domain name purchase or a business name decision. And then I would run the chart based on like that moment in time.
okay.
Um, but what I've done here is I've run your personal chart. So do you have like a personal brand that you kind of run on the side, or that was kind of my question about like if you were the face of the brand?
Yeah, I mean, so I do have a Radiah Rhodes brand that really is about innovation and design, and business strategy with a little bit of branding. I spent, a 20-year career, starting it with engineering and manufacturing, but shifting the last half of it into product innovation. So I'm very much involved in several different startups and brand design and things like that.
Oh gosh, well, maybe could we do a little mini reading on that? Because I did all the prep work for like your personal brand,
Sure.
which now is kind of making a little bit of sense. Yeah, and like later, if you if you can find a date for me that you would like your collective would consider like Evoke coming into life, I could run that chart too and see if it's aligned.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So you have a very beautiful chart, and it's really great because it's very well balanced. Except for one little thing, but we'll get into that.
Okay.
So the way that I look at brands through astrology is like, I don't know if you know a little bit about me, but I joined the mastermind back in July, and I have a career of a web and branding design firm that we
Hmm.
started back in 2002. So I've been kind of doing web design and like consulting with small businesses for a long time, but just finally figured out like what my new framework is and how I really wanted to move forward with my business. And that was through branding with the astrology framework.
I
So
love that.
yeah, it's fascinating because if you know anything about astrology, like there's so many different aspects. You're not just your sun sign on the day that you're born, but you're like this multifaceted aspect of all of the different planets, and we all have our unique strengths and weaknesses and challenges and values that I look at to the different planets to how we can kind of create a very strong, cohesive brand that's totally unique to you. So there's no competition, right? Because
Right.
no time that anybody else was born at the same exact place. So everybody has this unique imprint. So your sun here is in Pisces, and your sun sign within kind of my branding framework is really your values and your ultimate strengths, like what you like, kind of your zone of genius kind of thing, where this
Hmm.
is at your core of your brand. And the key word for everything in your chart really here is compassion. Like I just keep seeing it over and over and over again, because like your sun is in Pisces, super compassionate. Your moon is also in Pisces. So you have this kind of like double moon, which and like double moon and sun in the ninth house in Pisces. And then your rising sign, which is your outer brand, is in Cancer, which is also another water sign, which is so Pisces and Cancer and Scorpio are the water signs. And Pisces and Cancer, they are very sensitive, very emotional, very loving and creative signs. So
Hmm.
when I look at your sun sign and your values, we come up with, and it's also conjunct your midheaven. I don't know if you can see this here, but this little symbol here is your sun. It's a circle with it's two circles basically. And then this midheaven goes right, it's the cusp of the 10th house. This is kind of like your professional destiny. And your
Okay.
sun, your values is like really close to that angle there, a very important angle, which just kind of like super intensifies the power of it, right? So because your sun is on your midheaven, you're super goal oriented and success is super important to you. You have great leadership abilities. And this all will be strengthened when you come from a place of compassion with everybody that you're working with this dedication and like this sentimentality, this very emotional quality. Um, how does that sound to you? Does that resonate with you?
For sure. I mean, I'm definitely emotional and very sensitive. Part of my work with Evoke, we declare who we are, and part of what sparked it, my father asked me the question, "Who are you?" And what came to me as the answer was, "I'm life-changing love." And so, very much, around having a lot of compassion and sensitivity and intuition. Um, so all of that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So it says it in your chart. And then with your moon also there in Pisces, your moon sign, how I'm looking at it with like a personal brand is this is your like interior life, right? Like what you need to be emotionally secure so you can really thrive and do your best work. And also like a little bit of what your shadows and some challenges and fears that come up that you need to face in order to really kind of take things to the next level.
Hmm.
So because your sun and your moon are both in Pisces, like emotionally, like at your core, at your values, you have compassion, but emotionally, you also need compassion for yourself. You need those depths of emotion. You need the sensitivity. You need the loyalty. And what this is telling me is that you have some true hidden dreams that need to come forth. Like Pisces, also about secrets and hiding, and not being totally 100% visible to others. So might you have some hidden dreams that you haven't explored yet?
I would say that in the past, I mean, let me say this. I really do love innovation, and, creating new things. And so as I have been on a journey, I think just personally growing into myself and then starting to dabble in different businesses and startups, I started Evoke. I have another business I'm a founder of. My husband and I run another business. He really runs it primarily, but, I support. And this Radiah Rhodes brand, it's so funny that we started the call with Evoke, and now just divinely, it's like, well, what about Radiah Rhodes brand? I haven't really stepped out into this world of brand design and product design and innovation fully, which I love so much,
Yeah. Well, it's your sun and your moon are both in the ninth house, which is the house of exploration. Not only like exploration of like far off places and journeying, but like explorations of the mind. And also you have Aquarius with both Mercury and Mars here. So Mars is the planet of action and of energy, and Mercury, the planet of communications, both in like a very super innovative sign in Aquarius, which is all about new technology and changing like the natural structures and the natural traditions of things to be something else, like this transformation, right? So that's all there. And then that's all in the eighth house, which is ruled by Scorpio, which is sometimes thought of the house of like death, but it's really the house of transformation, because death happens in so many different ways. So you're super powerful in this sector of your chart. In the eighth and ninth house, and in Aquarius and Pisces. This is all like towards the end of the cycle of the chart. So all these transformations are happening.
Ah, interesting.
So,
yeah, I'm certainly in the business of transformation.
Yes.
In many ways.
And with all of these great, aspects to like Neptune, which is also innovation and technology. One of the other interesting super aspects that I look at when creating a brand, I usually go super deep with clients when we're looking at things, and I'm kind of going more than just superficial with you here, is that you're ascendant. This is the rising sign. This is the sign that was coming on the horizon at the time that you took breath. And that is, we talked earlier about, it's also in the watery Cancer sign. And so to me, when I'm looking at a brand and what this rising sign means, is this is your outward brand. Okay, so sun is your core brand, moon is your inner brand, and your rising is your outward brand. So this is looking at what people are perceiving of you and your brand, like how they're experiencing your brand, what they need from you in order for them to be fulfilled. So for the transformation to happen for your clients, what do they need from you? And everything here for you is all about water and like holding these emotional places for people so that they can do whatever they need to do to take the next step, right? So for your rising sign, again, in water, Cancer, sensitivity, very warm, very loving, super giving, but it's also conjunct Saturn. This symbol here is a planet for Saturn, which is about discipline, about responsibility. So your clients need from you is not only this emotional support, but just this constant, they know that you're like this strong sounding board that they can totally depend on, and they'll know that you have them no matter what.
Yeah, that's right on point.
Yeah. So there's so many things in your chart that says that you're definitely on the right path.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's all certainly aligning.
Yeah. So one of the things, though, one of the things that you might have a little bit of weakness in that maybe you need more systems to help you is that your missing element is the earth. You don't have much earth. You can see in your chart here, this little grid here, you have no planets in earth. Um, that's not to say that that's not to say that you don't have any grounding or you don't have any structures, but I could see if you were able to ground yourself more. But you mentioned a little bit earlier that in your evoke team that you are the grounding force, so you must have done your work to
Yeah.
really be able to create the structures and the systems that you need to bring to bring things into practicality and to bring things into manifestation.
Yeah, so I think part of it is just being trained as an engineer, so I went through school, I got an engineering degree, and really that was by happenstance. I think just because up to the point I decided to go to college, there were always people saying you're really smart in science and math, so you should take this path. So that was, a divine probably, journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then becoming an engineer in my career and working for one of the most probably structured and systemized companies you can. And so, I have been trained all my life in terms of structures and processes and tools and systems. So that's good to know. It's interesting how that happened.
Yeah. So it seems like you're completely aligned. um, so did you want me to take a look at the Evoke website is beautiful and I haven't looked at the chart, so I can't tell if it's aligned to the chart, but do you want me to look at one of your sites that reflects your personal brand?
Sure, and it's really good because it hasn't been updated in a while, so I'll be
Okay.
interested. It's radiahrhodes.com. Rhodes.com. Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Um, so when we're talking about you, what's your strategy and your emotional life, it's stunning, which is great because everything is beautiful. And what I would love, love, love to see more is more messaging right
Okay.
at the front that really shows not only is like what is your strategy, like talking to them like what is their strategy, but asking them like from an emotional level, like what space can you hold for them in order for them to accomplish their
Mm.
dreams. Like I think everything for you from your outer brand with your ascendant in Cancer, everything here needs to talk about sensitivity and compassion and also structure. Like you wouldn't think about those two things together, but how could thinking about like maybe a very motherly role, or not even a motherly role, thinking maybe more of a female mentor who's going to have all of these tools and disciplines to help somebody accomplish their goals, but not in a way that is just pure energy, but pure emotion and compassion, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
your visuals support that, but now I need some messaging that's going to go along with that.
Okay. That's really good. I can I just wrote down what you said. How can I help you fulfill your dreams and goals? Like coming from just having that conversation, and not being so heady, but going to the heart on it.
That all heart compassion lead from your everything about what you do has to lead from the heart.
Got it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
this is so stunningly beautiful though, without even just looking at it. At least you know that you're going to be able to grab people's attention, and now to keep them engaged is being able to speak to them clearly from that place of heart.
Mhm. That's good. I mean, that's how I feel. So to your point, there's no reason why it shouldn't just be right on the forefront.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Speak to them right away.
Yeah, I think you know what, it's funny what it's bringing up is, you know, just feeling like sometimes kindness is taken as a weakness. Like I'm very aware of how sensitive and how powerful and how much emotion, I carry. But, I think there's probably some belief I have somewhere that just really says, you have to show up intentionally uh, action oriented and driven and in these other ways.
Well, yeah, that's the patriarchal way of thinking about things, right?
Hmm.
But in reality, of all of the elements, water is the softest, but over time it's the most powerful. It can cause like the most destruction. Like if you think of like erosion, if water is not like freeing, like uh, flowing freely, just imagine a dam of water. Like you don't want
Hmm.
a dam of water
Right, right.
breaking and bursting, right? So it's super interesting just kind of looking at your photos, and I think you're just really doing it naturally. It's because your necklace is so beautiful, but that is a very strong, is it metal or is it stone?
It's wood. I
Oh,
believe
it's
that was actually wood.
wood.
Hmm.
Ah, so there's your earth element right there. Like you're already balancing yourself out. So,
Perfect. And I crave structure. Like that's always been something. I'm also very aware of you know, my tendency to be flighty and very much explore, like you said, exploration.
mhm.
And so I crave structure because I like indulgences, I like experiences. And so I know that, not just have those in my head, but to really have the full experiences, I need some kind of structure to move me through.
Yeah, well, I think you got it figured out.
This is great to know, though. It's an awesome confirmation. And, again, I'm really taking away this, visibly leading from the heart, and not having that just be where I'm coming from, but not really being vocal or visible about.
Yeah, I don't
That's a
know
big shift.
if you have a mantra, a personal mantra, but if I could choose one word for you, it'd be compassion.
Got it. I do always, my mantra is usually it's all working for my good. That's what it's all working for my good.
Yes, and the good of others too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk with you.
Thank you. No, this was awesome. What you do is so unique and really powerful, and practical at the same time. I can totally see the practical benefit.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping. I want to give women clarity and confidence so that they can take their business to the next level. And you're already doing it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This was so generous and really an amazing, it's not even a skill, but it's a gift. It really is a gift. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're very welcome too. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the mastermind soon.
Absolutely. You too.
Okay. Bye, Radiah.
Bye. Thank you, Leslie.